Wow, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Mary is worse than young Sheldon and Big Bang Theory's version. If you thought Mary Cooper in the Big Bang Theory and even the younger, far more exaggerated version in young Sheldon were a handful, buckle up. The latest twist in the Big Bang Theory universe, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, introduces a Mary that makes both previous versions look like saints. Honestly, I didn't think a Cooper could ever be this frustrating, manipulative, and at the same time completely unself-aware. Yet here we are. And somehow, the showrunners managed to push the family dynamic into territory that is simultaneously comedic, cringe-inducing, and infuriating in ways I didn't think possible. Mary Cooper, the benchmark. Let's start with what makes the original Mary Cooper, played by Laurie Metcalf, so memorable. In the Big Bang Theory, Mary is sweet, well-meaning, and deeply religious. She is also hilariously judgmental, frequently providing a dose of Southern-styled moralizing that borders on comic relief. Her charm lies in her obliviousness. She meddles in Sheldon's life, pushes for certain behaviors, but usually from a place of love, and there's a clear line between her quirkiness and cruelty. Then young Sheldon took Mary to a whole new level, giving her depth, flaws, and moments of raw honesty. Young Sheldon's Mary is a single mother of four, juggling faith, family, and a reality that often overwhelms her. She's anxious, prone to dramatic reactions, and sometimes selfish, but you can empathize with her. She feels real. She struggles, she stumbles, and she occasionally lets her kids down, but always with love in the background. So when we talk about Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, we're entering territory where the Mary archetype is completely warped. This Mary isn't the lovable meddler or the overwhelmed mother trying her best. She's, well, worse. And not in the fun-to-watch way. Worse in the you might want to put your phone down and scream at the TV way. First impressions, shockingly bad. When Mary first appears in Georgie and Mandy's storyline, it's clear she's not here for subtle influence. She's aggressive, controlling, and somehow manages to dominate every scene without saying anything particularly clever. The way she speaks to Mandy is especially alarming. In previous versions, Mary's judgment was couched in concern, "Are you eating enough?" or "Have you prayed today?" Here, it's all veiled threats and guilt. For example, in one episode, Mandy expresses excitement over moving into her first apartment with Georgie, only for Mary to swoop in and lecture her about respecting the sanctity of marriage, as though Mandy had committed a felony. The tone is manipulative rather than nurturing, a subtle poison that makes the viewer squirm. While young Sheldon's Mary might throw a fit over a dirty kitchen or a failed science experiment, this Mary weaponizes guilt like it's an art form. And don't even get me started on Georgie's treatment. Previously, he could roll his eyes at Mary's quirks, shrug off her advice, or even argue back with humor. This time, Georgie looks like a man slowly drowning in his mother's overbearing expectations. His once confident charm is entirely undercut by Mary's relentless interference. Watching it unfold is equal parts cringe and awe. How can one character dominate two adults so thoroughly without breaking a sweat? The invisible moral compass. Another fascinating and troubling aspect of this new Mary is her moral flexibility. In both Big Bang Theory and young Sheldon, Mary is judgmental but consistent. She has clear rules about right and wrong, even if those rules are biased by her religious and cultural upbringing. You always know where Mary stands. In Georgie and Mandy's storyline, Mary is less a moral compass and more a moving target. One moment she preaches honesty and integrity, the next she encourages deception or passive aggression to teach a lesson. It's disorienting. Mandy and Georgie are forced to navigate this unpredictable moral landscape, often punishing themselves or each other in the process. The result is a tension that surpasses anything in the original series. It's not just comedy, it's emotional whiplash. This is particularly evident in a scene where Georgie forgets to call his mother before a family dinner. In the past, Mary might sigh, wag a finger, or issue a mild reprimand. Here, she manipulates Georgie into apologizing multiple times, all while making Mandy feel like she's complicit in her husband's sin. By the end of the dinner, both Georgie and Mandy are exhausted, teetering on the edge of an emotional breakdown, and Mary strolls away with a serene smile. It's brilliantly infuriating television. Mary is a plot device. It's important to note that this version of Mary isn't just bad for dramatic effect. She is explicitly used as a plot device to escalate tension between Georgie and Mandy. Every argument, every miscommunication can be traced back to Mary's interference. Unlike the previous versions, where Mary was a source of comic relief or relatable stress, she's now the catalyst for nearly every conflict in the narrative. This approach works in some ways. It pushes Mandy and Georgie to reveal hidden flaws, insecurities, and coping mechanisms. But it also makes Mary almost cartoonishly villainous. The writers walk a fine line between tension and absurdity, and occasionally they tip too far into the latter. A few episodes feature Mary orchestrating events so meticulously that it strains credulity, convincing Georgie to cancel plans with Mandy, arranging a family intervention, or issuing friendly advice that spirals into chaos. The result? A Mary who is omnipresent, omniscient, and frankly exhausting. Comparing the three Marys, let's break it down for clarity. Version traits impact on family watchability. Big Bang Theory sweet, judgmental, loving, mildly intrusive, often humorous, high charming, relatable. Young Sheldon overwhelmed, anxious, flawed struggles, but ultimately supportive, high humanized, dramatic, funny. Georgie and Mandy marriage controlling, manipulative, unpredictable, dominates, emotionally exhausting, moderate, compelling, but frustrating. The contrast is stark. The original Mary is a warm, quirky presence. Young Sheldon's Mary is a sympathetic, layered character. This new Mary? She's a tempest in human form, a constant source of stress for every character she touches. And yet, somehow, that makes her compelling television if you can handle the frustration. Why the writers went this route? You might wonder why the writers chose to make Mary so overbearing and antagonistic in this storyline. The answer likely lies in the evolution of the Big Bang Theory universe itself. By the time we get to Georgie and Mandy, the show has already established a world where humor often intersects with discomfort. Characters are expected to grow, conflict must arise, and stakes need to feel real. Creating a Mary who is worse than both previous versions serves several purposes. 1. Heightened drama. The tension keeps viewers engaged. We're drawn into Mandy and Georgie's struggles precisely because the interference feels real and high stakes. 2. Character development. Both Mandy and Georgie are forced to adapt. They learn boundaries, conflict resolution, and most importantly, how to survive under pressure from a dominating parent. 3. Comedic tension. Despite the emotional weight, Mary's over-the-top behavior remains absurd enough to be funny. It's cringe comedy elevated to a new level. In essence, this Mary functions as both antagonist and narrative accelerant, pushing the story forward while amplifying emotional stakes. The audience reaction to this version of Mary has been polarizing. Some viewers relish the drama and find her manipulative antics hilarious in a darkly comic sense. Others, however, find her grating and disruptive, a character who overshadows the protagonists rather than supporting them. This split makes sense. After years of charming, Lova,